Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to All Things Division 3 Soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie. I am Simple Coach, and spacing away right there is Jackie. Yeah, pretty lady. She's dealing with a lot of issues. She's getting old, so but yeah, she still hangs with me. All right, so probably about a month ago, I did a video where I was just, I'm itching for the start of the 2024 season, to be quite honest. We're, as of this recording, I think we're like 48 days away from the start of preseason, or when most players report. And, quite frankly, the other types of soccer out there, the national team, the Copa America, the Euros, by and large, have kind of disappointed me. So I find myself where I'm really pining for the start of the season, right? And so, like I said, about a month ago, I did a video. How soon can we kick off the 2024 Division 3 soccer season? And I just went through some of the things that intrigued me and whatnot. So, and there's so much out there. I decided I was going to do another video. So, some more things that I have on my mind, and what I'll be following if I can clone myself. So, lots of news out there, lots of places to look, lots of games to see, lots of programs to follow. And yeah, so with that, let's start with this second list. All right, so like I mentioned, I did the first video. This is not exhaustive. This was just other things I started to think about as I was thinking about the 2024 season. Some of them are pertinent to the game. Some of them are just observations as I do. But and I'm already working on a third edition, maybe before the season starts. So that might be focused more on who has the capacity to win it all, drama. But with that, let me begin. So I recently did a interview with the Coast Guard Academy head coach Chris Parsons. It was a great interview. I'm a big fan of the service academies. So, and he talked about the battle of the academies, where the U.S. Coast Guard Academy takes on the Merchant Marine Academy. And I think this year it's in New London, which is, if you've ever get a chance to visit the academy, check out the field. It is an incredible place for a game. So that's the first one that sort of has me a little bit tickled pink. And this is a little bit not so much about a game, but in my recent Fields of Dreams, I've seen a bunch of stadiums with grass. And can I tell you, I miss grass fields. I'm not saying turf is not bad, but I can't help but love the places that play on a well manicured field. And I'm noticing this a bit more. And I will come out and say a grass field is better than a turf field as far as I'm concerned. So what up? Let's look on the women's side real quick. Westminster College women had a banger of a year, going 14-4 during the regular season. They fell in the PAC semis to Franciscan University, and I think they might be in line for another conference tournament title, which they last won in 2022, and then a trip to the NCAA. They actually play a pretty good brand of soccer, and obviously can compete. So I'm going to be paying attention to the women's side of the President's Athletic Conference, which should be good. So, hey, I have to say, and I was surprised by this because I watched them play Swanee, and it was like, wow, where'd this team come from? I was a big fan of the Stormy Petrels of Oglethorpe University. They'd gone 14-3-2. They beat Washington and Lee. They tied Emory, and they ended up winning the Southern Athletic Association Conference tournament. They actually fell in a very tight match with Colorado College in the first round of the NCAAs. So I'm thinking, and I'm wondering if the Stormy Petrels don't have some unfinished business this year. I mean, after all, in the Colorado College game, they were up 2-0 before they conceded 3. And I gotta believe that program is setting its sights on greater heights this time around. And speaking of Washington and Lee, they have a new coach, former Kalamazoo head men's coach Lumumba Shabazz. He's been hired. I'm not as familiar with his work at Kalamazoo College, but I will be watching to see if the Generals can keep up that momentum, as I think they're pretty darn close to a national championship. So now, I think I've talked about this one quite a bit, and you're probably going to be like, oh yeah, he's talking about him again. So I mentioned, and he's my coach of the year. Cal Lutheran had an epic season, winning the women's NCAA Division III championship. I can't say they came out of nowhere, but they weren't on my bingo card, especially against Wash U. So I'm going to be following them, especially if to see if they have what it takes to follow up on that magnificent season they had. So now some bummer news, as I was working on this and writing this out and figuring things out. And the word is that Eastern Nazarene University will be closing its doors at the end of the year. It's a sad day, but also a reminder, unfortunately, that this could be the last season for other schools. Not something I'm hoping to see. And interestingly enough, as I continued to work through this and I was trying to finalize it, another school announced it's closing its doors. This time, Clark Summit University, is going to be done by the end of the summer. And that's after I just did a Fields of Dreams from there, which, yeah, very sad. Yeah, so I'm not sure what else to say. That's not necessarily something I'm looking forward to, but it's definitely something that's on my radar, for the future. So now, I think there's a bunch of teams, quite frankly. There's a bunch of teams that are on the verge, I think, of busting through, right? Like I always say, you always reach a ceiling, you hover around the ceiling, and then there's certain programs that bust through, and then they're right there in the thick of it, for the national title. So, and so there's a number of teams that I'm looking at, like, oh, this maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year they bust through. So on the men's side, Christopher Newport University, I keep thinking is close. They just need another player. They need the ball to bounce their way. That could be one. Ohio Northern, right? They beat Messiah last year, but I think they can still go higher. I'm going to add Pacific Lutheran and Emory on that list. I think they're close to doing great things. So on the women's side, I'm also going with Pacific Lutheran. I'm not sure what they're doing, what the Lutes are doing over there in Tacoma, but obviously something special. And then I would add these three teams that have been on the cusp for seemingly for so long: Loras, Mary Hardin-Baylor, and Virginia Wesleyan. So I think those teams are, like I said, could bust through and do some real work. So I decided to take a look also at, what players that should I should be looking out for, um, and who that I think would really make um, a, a real impact on the season. And on the women's side, I obviously you have to give the nod to the current Women's Player of the Year and rising senior Christina Axelson from Messiah. If she has another great year, like she can blow the doors off of 2024. And I was looking for somebody else, like who might be a little bit off the radar, but there's a player at Hardin Simmons that I think she's got the stats, she's got the accolades to back up some serious games. So Lexi Templin at Hardin Simmons. And I think I think she's a freshman, and I think in the next year or two, her name's going to be pretty prominent up when we talk about players of the year. So that's my prediction, I guess. On the men's side, look, he's been dominant, I'll say, freshman year, and then obviously last year. Thought his sophomore year wasn't as great, but I will say Amir Lukovic, Montclair State Men's Player of the Year. I'm interested to see if he could have a repeat performance in 2024, and I think that's going to be critical to Montclair State's success. And he's capable of it. The kid is special. Like, he is a special ball player without a doubt. So, and then another player I'm going to watch. I was super impressed with him. I think it was his sophomore year. He was hurt last year. I can't remember what year that was for him. So, I think he's going to be a junior. So is Gerardo Martinez at Kenyon College. I think the kid is special and is one that could be, if not be the best midfielder in Division III. And like I said, last year he only played 7 games as a result of injury. So if he comes back healthy and he's able to really have an impact with this team. So all right, and then finally, I mentioned it again. How soon can we kick off the 2024 season? And I mentioned about pairwise and the impact of the tournament selection process. There's something else that has me intrigued. This is more of a multi-year thing, and that's the limit on roster sizes in Division I programs. I'm wondering if this doesn't have an impact that we're not going to be feeling for a number of years as smaller rosters, players looking for teams. Do they go down divisions or what have you? Does it have an impact? I don't know. I'm thinking it should, especially on the higher end of the Division III teams. But I will say one thing for sure is that it just made D1 or bust, making it more likely that it's a bust for a lot of kids. So I think that's something to really take a look at. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to stick with those. Like I said, I'm going to do another one of these where I talk about some of the, where I talk about who I think can possibly win it and who I'll be watching to actually win it all. And so I'm just going to stick with those. There's 10 of them. I did a write-up for it as well on d3soccer.fans that you can find. There's a lot more going on, obviously, and I would totally be accepting if you have some storylines that you're interested in, shoot them to me or post them on the fan boards, and I will maybe if I get enough, I do a fan-based one of these videos. So, but otherwise, want to thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the support to my Patreon members. Really am grateful to all of you folks who continue to show the support and shoot me emails and all that stuff. I'm very, very grateful for that. And hopefully we'll see each other again soon. And yeah, enjoy.